Great, hello everyone. We're going to have here at IDC Europe a very interesting conversation with Claire and Muka. Just very happy to spare those minutes with you guys. Claire, would you like to tell us what is your current role at HDI?
Hi, my name's Claire McDonald and I'm the Chief Underwriting Officer responsible for what we call the short tail lines in HDI Global. So that's property engineering and marine, and also our risk engineers. I'll pass over to Muka.
Thank you. Muka.
Hi Alex, so my name is Mukadder Erdönmez. I'm the counterpart of Claire. I'm responsible for the long tail lines, which is including liability, cyber and motor.
Very interesting business lines as well. Very complementary as well. And talking about such a huge organization you guys are responsible or partly responsible of, and thinking about the transformation effort those huge carriers have to go through. What are the current challenges you guys are facing in your day-to-day business?
Yeah, let me kick off. So I think when you look at a transformation, it's not a one-off thing, and it's not something where you just start and you have an end date. It's a continuous process. And when we look at our history and the last couple of years, we come from a time where we had challenging results. And we started basically our strategic transformation process called HDI 4.0 roughly 3-4 years ago. And with that, we changed the entire organization, being more data-driven organization, be a more analytical organization. Particularly in our areas, the underwriting lines, data and analytics became more and more important. Having said that, obviously, transformation is not something where you put on the table and people just change from one day to another. So it's not only the numbers which we change or the infrastructure, it's also our colleagues. And to be honest, that's sometimes a real challenge for all of us. And it's a never-ending process. But when we look at it, I mean, we made tremendous progress in multiple areas and multiple colleagues, but it's a never-ending story at this point in time. Or what do you think, Claire?
I'll probably just add to that a little bit. I think you can put a tool in front of somebody, doesn't mean they're necessarily going to use it to the full advantage or the way in which you expected them to use it. So I think that sort of continuous showing of what you can do with new technology or giving people ideas, because as I was saying earlier in one of the other conversations, these people weren't necessarily hired for this particular skill set. And we've got to bring them with us on this journey because we certainly can't afford to lose them all. So it's about that sort of repositioning of people. At the same time, we talked about this as well, about getting in new resources that are perhaps more digital native or digital generation that can adapt to the technology in a quicker, faster, more intuitive way. But I think the other thing is we've also talked about with transformation is it's been, some of the things that didn't work quite so well is perhaps where we've not been so clear or where we've not been so explicit. Mm-hmm. And I think people really need that. They need clarity. And if you're expecting them to find their way through a degree of ambiguity, and some of them are going to get lost. And I think it's about trying to put as clear a path as you can for as many people as you can, and at the same time understanding what the quality of skill set is that you've got and what you need to change.
Well, we all know this situation, being in a meeting room with a bunch of people, talking about some specific goal with some specific technology, maybe having implemented it, and still looking into those empty eyes of people that you see they don't understand, they don't know how to apply it. You've just talked about, both of you, about one very interesting factor, that is the skill set which is needed in order to conduct those kind of transformations as a whole, but particularly some specific processes or projects within those transformation strategy areas. And you just talked about digital native people that understand certain technologies. What I find very often is the contrast of digital native people who understand technology and people who are in the business or have been in the business for about 30 years, 3 or 4 decades, and they don't understand it at all. Bringing both sides together and integrate those kind of mindsets into one winning team. What is your What is your experience about that? What can you tell me about how to conceive such a huge goal in order to get it right?
I think for me it's about taking away some of that hierarchy. I mean, obviously working for HDI Global, it's a German insurer, so it said culturally in Germany there is a degree of hierarchy, as you're well aware. But I think for me it is, can we take that hierarchy away? Can we have people? I have no problem if people don't quite understand things, but I want the open-mindedness and I want the curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
And if they haven't got the open-mindedness and the curiosity, then I think it's a bit of a difficult situation. But if you can marry up the combination of the 30, 40 years experience, and I have the 40 years plus on my team, along with the open-minded, curious, creative, then I think that could be a winning solution really to bring those two together. But it does rely on that the senior person doesn't look down at the junior person. Yeah, you're all in it together to solve a problem, and that different people recognise that other people are bringing in a different specific skill set to solve the problem. But one can't solve it without the other.
Yeah.
So it's how do we get these people to be in that open playing field and understanding that everybody has got something to learn from somebody else.
Plus, if you reorder hierarchies, you have to reorder as well the concept of accountability to certain people, right? Everybody is in charge. Everybody has some specific role and responsibility in order to conceive a common goal, right? That's
one of the things in Maya we're trying to do in terms of we've adapted OKR as a methodology, and then looking at the key results, and the key results don't have to sit with the leaders. The key results can sit with people in the team,
mm-hmm.
and actually that's seen as something that can help develop their skill set, or something our talent want to be involved with, because they want to see that their work is actually making a difference to the bigger picture.
Marco, what are your thoughts about it?
Well, Alex, what you describe is I would say, a not very particular situation to us as a company, but as a society as a whole. And to be honest, I don't believe that there is a silver bullet, right? If you look at the situation we have to face, not only elderly and young people, digital natives and non-digital natives, we have to face a lot of diversity within our workforce and our colleagues, and somehow we need to still deliver our clients what they need, still deliver on our financial plan. So it's a really complex situation we're in. And I always describe it to like changing the tires of a car which is on the highway, right? We're trying to fix things along the way while we're still driving in the direction we need to drive. And when I look at it, it all starts with basically the attitude. So when it comes to the point of skills and attitude, you need the skills, but you need more the attitude. And the attitude is really like, okay, we're in a transformation process. I need to work with different people. They might have different views on things, and still be able to respect and interact with those colleagues and deliver on what they should deliver. And for us as leaders, it's also something which we have to be role models in. And it's not only the structure, it's not only the messaging, it's really like living that way of interacting and taking that accountability, which you mentioned, and still take everybody along the way.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it's also a matter of people want to come along the way. We have some colleagues who say, like, look, this is not what I wanted to do, which is absolutely great, but I think it's about that decision. You want to come along the way, you want to be part of transformation and what we want to be in the future, which is like client-centric organization driven by data and analytics, and you can play your part in it, but you need to show that attitude.
Eventually, everybody have to understand that learning cycles are going to narrow down to just a few months or years, right? It's not that you build up some expertise over decades and then put it into value, but it's more of the attitude part which permits yourself to put yourself into play. Even yourself as underwriters, right? You have huge part of your expertise which you've built up over decades right now, put in jeopardy due to the fact that you can use data and there's not all the skill set needed anymore or all the tasks needed anymore that you've been doing in the past. But let's see it as a challenge and opportunity, right? You can do more with technology, you can do more with less effort. And combined with other skills, you can reach other goals you haven't been able if you've done it like 20 years ago, right?
I like very much the word value you mentioned, like the value of expertise. And the value of expertise is not something which is like historically gained and there is only one type of expertise. It's like there are different types of expertise and we need to combine it and you need to value it and you need to respect it. And when you look at it, that's exactly the way we want to go as an organization, that we bring all those different expertises together to, at the end of the day, master the challenge of the transformation, but still be able to work with our clients.
Mm-hmm.
You just gave me flashbacks. Talking about processes that were really not efficient.
Yeah.
I sort of remember days early in my career of having a piece of paper and writing down every value and every single postcode. I'm very grateful that we've gone past that, and I think I would touch on value in a different way, is that I would very much like to see technology either replacing or making a lot more efficient the processes that don't add value to the customer, that are purely internal facing, because that's and to be honest, these are jobs or activities that our staff don't even want to do either. So I think there's a lot to be had there.
Yeah.
And then I think it's how can we then create that extra value for the customer around what we do, and I think a lot of the insights that we can get from technology, if I look in property, about for example, how will a client's site be impacted potentially by climate change in the future. That's the conversations we need to be having with our customers now, is how do they become more resilient for how the perils will change in the future, not the history of the past.
And insurance carriers for sure can be a part of this education of society of which topics to talk about, and delivering good content and tangible content in order to not being a fake discussion.
Well, I think it's about increasing resilience, and I think that's one of the value adds that we can bring in insurance, is to really help our clients become more resilient to the risks that they're going to face in the future, not just the risks they have now.
We've talked about mindset, skills, talent, hierarchies, and managing models based on data-driven decisions. For me, there's another huge facet within the industry which determines if a transformation as a whole is successful or not, and that is the enabling back-end systems, legacy systems, with everything you would like to do on front ends, or with everything you would like to do towards the customer itself. Historically speaking, insurance carriers have built up their own system landscape, have managed to develop on their own those landscapes as a whole. There are systems right now, and I'm pretty sure within your organization as well, that are coming from 30 years ago that anyone today knows how it works as a whole, and anyone for sure knows how to connect it with every other part which is needed on the front end. So this challenge in particular, which drives the way of how to deliver customer usability experience interaction with the company. Can you tell me some projects you're working on, or some strategies you have defined in order to overcome that huge challenge of how to connect legacy systems with front end?
Yeah, I think our legacy systems in principle though are what we classify as mid-office and back-office. And mid-office, let's face it, your main deliverables have a mid-office. It'll be about invoicing and about premium reconciliation, claims payments, claims reconciliation, reinsurance accounting.
Yeah.
And then obviously you're feeding probably a back-end accounting system. So actually what we've chosen to do within HDI is not really meddle with that one too much, because it does what it does, right? And it doesn't need to do anything else. So where we've put the focus on is then working on that underwriting front office dimension, being in the more modern technologies with agile projects, etc., that capture the data that we don't need it to be in mid office, we don't need it to be in back office.
Yeah.
So we can actually, and our mid office and back office is not homogenous across our global organisation. But what is homogenous and what we can focus on is the underwriting front office.
Yeah.
So that's where we've invested our time, effort and energy really, is around having a more standardized global experience at that level, and the data capture moving more into that layer than being the data, then the mid office and back office from an underwriting perspective.
So coming up with an IT infrastructure that leverages the data on the front end and permits you to interact in real time,
Exactly.
whatever the customer
yeah,
needs.
Whilst leaving that mid office and back office to do what it always did, right? Which it does well.
Seems reasonable.
So if it doesn't, if it's not broken, these are an awful lot of expense, aren't they, to fix if
Yeah.
you want to redo them completely.
Okay. You would like to add something?
Well, I mean, one of the reasons why we're here at the ITC is exactly that conversation, right? And we have a session later on where we're going to speak about the opportunities for insurtechs to collaborate with, I would say, insurance companies which have a certain history, right? I mean, you used the word dinosaur a little bit earlier, right? Which
I didn't do it on stage though.
you didn't say it here, but you know, it's like if you look at our history, we're becoming 120 years this year in December. So we're a really old company. And as you mentioned, we have a lot of legacy systems which our colleagues are working on improving and building a really technology stack which we can go into the future. But obviously with shortening technology cycles, we also have to think about what is the optimum setup. Is it make, is it buy, is it collaborate? And one of the views I personally have is that collaboration is always a good opportunity to also learn ourselves, right? It doesn't always mean that we have the best solution, but having somebody we can work with and collaborate to give a good customer experience or enhance our efficiency or improve the data quality in some of our areas where we use technology is something which we definitely will and are looking in at this point in time.
Thank you both very much for being with us here today. Very happy to have talked about these, I think, very important issues within the industry. Have fun throughout the 2 days, and we'll see you again.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.